Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you're a coin collector or just someone who loves learning about rare treasures, you're in for a treat today. We're diving deep into a coin that many people wouldn't think is worth much until you hear the incredible story of one of these coins selling for $1.5 million. That's right, the 1965 Washington Quarter, a coin you might have in your pocket right now, has become one of the most sought after and valuable coins in the world. In this video, we'll explore the history behind the 1965 Washington Quarter, what makes this coin so unique, and how one lucky collector turned a seemingly ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. So, let's get started. Before we jump into the specifics of the 1965 Washington Quarter, let's take a brief look at the history of the Washington Quarter itself. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. Designed by artist John Flanagan, the coin features a profile of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. The Washington Quarter was originally made of 90% silver, but this changed in 1965. Due to rising silver prices and a coin shortage, the U.S. Mint decided to switch the quarter's composition from silver to a copper-nickel-clad metal. This change was a big deal in the numismatic world because it marked the end of the silver era for the quarter, and the new quarters were significantly less valuable in terms of their metal content. By 1965, the new copper-nickel-clad Washington quarters began circulating, and they were minted in massive quantities. But among these millions of coins, one in particular stood out for its rare and valuable error. So, what makes the 1965 Washington Quarter so special, and why is it worth so much today? At first glance, a 1965 Washington Quarter might seem like just another ordinary coin from the 1960s. However, there was a significant error in the minting process that made some of those quarters incredibly rare and valuable. The error in question is known as the dual die or double die error. This type of error occurs when the coin die used to strike the design is misaligned or struck multiple times, resulting in the design being duplicated. The result is a coin with a noticeable doubling effect, particularly on the date or the letters of the inscription. In the case of the 1965 Washington Quarter, this error was not widespread, making it even more valuable to collectors who were able to track down one of the coins with the mistake. The 1965 Washington Quarter with the double die error is especially rare, and finding one in good condition is even more challenging. Coins with this error are considered highly sought after because they are unique, and there were only a small number of them produced. So, how did the 1965 Washington Quarter end up selling for $1.5 million? The coin that sold for such an incredible price was a nearly flawless example of the double die error, graded as one of the highest quality versions of the coin ever discovered. After being authenticated and graded by a professional numismatic service, it was put up for auction. When this quarter hit the auction block, collectors from around the world immediately took notice. Its rarity, historical significance, and condition made it an attractive piece for investors and coin enthusiasts alike. After intense bidding, the final price reached a staggering $1.5 million, leaving the numismatic world in awe. This sale proves that even coins that were originally produced in large numbers like the 1965 Washington Quarter can become highly valuable if they possess unique characteristics or errors. The combination of rarity, historical value, and pristine condition is what made this specific quarter worth a fortune. You might be wondering, why are coins with errors like the 1965 Washington Quarter so valuable? The answer is simply rarity. Errors in minting don't happen often, and when they do, they often result in coins that are unique and stand out from the regular coins in circulation. A coin with an error tells a story of imperfection and human error in the minting process, which is part of what makes them so intriguing and valuable to collectors. In the case of the 1965 Washington Quarter, the double die error is highly sought after because it occurred at a time when millions of standard Washington Quarters were being minted, but only a very small number of coins had the error. This scarcity, combined with the visual appeal of the doubling, makes it a coin that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. Additionally, error coins are seen as rare artifacts. Welcome back to the channel. If you're into coin collecting or just love finding rare treasures, you'll definitely want to stick around for today's video. We're diving into a particular coin that has recently made waves in the numismatic world of the 1994p Washington quarter. You might be wondering, what's so special about a quarter from 1994? Well, it turns out that one of these quarters was sold for a jaw-dropping $1.4 million at auction. That's right, a 1994p quarter was valued at over $1 million. And today, we're going to talk about why this coin is so valuable, its history, and what makes it stand out in the world of rare coins. Let's get into it. Before we jump into the specifics of the 1994p Washington quarter, let's take a quick look at the Washington quarter's history. First introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, the Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. coinage for nearly a century. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin features a portrait of the first U.S. president on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, which was replaced by a more modern eagle design in 1999. The Washington quarter has undergone several design changes over the years, but the basic design and composition have remained fairly consistent, especially through the late 20th century. By 1994, the U.S. Mint had switched to using a copper nickel-clad composition for quarters, which is the same material used in the 1994p Washington quarter. But what makes this specific 1994p Washington quarter so unique and valuable? The answer lies in one rare error that made it an object of desire for collectors. The 1994p Washington quarter, at first glance, might seem like just another coin from the 1990s, but what sets it apart is a very specific error that occurred during the minting process. This error is known as the double die error, and it's one of the most sought-after mistakes in the world of coin collecting. The 1994p quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and like most coins from that time, it was produced in massive quantities. However, a very small number of these quarters were struck with the rare and highly valuable double die error. This error occurs when a coin is struck with a die that has been misaligned or unintentionally stamped twice, causing the design to appear doubled. The double die error is especially noticeable on the Liberty inscription and the date 1994 on the obverse of the coin. If you carefully examine a 1994p Washington quarter with this error, you'll see that the letters in Liberty and the numbers in 1994 are slightly offset from their original position. This doubling effect makes the coin stand out, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for it because of its rarity. So, how did a simple quarter from 1994 end up being worth $1.4 million? Well, the specific 1994p Washington quarter that fetched such a high price was discovered to have this double die error and was in pristine, uncirculated condition. After being submitted for professional grading and authentication, the coin was evaluated by experts who confirmed its rarity and excellent quality. Once the coin was graded, it was put up for auction, where it quickly became the center of attention. The final bid came in at an astonishing $1.4 million, shocking the coin collecting community and the public alike. This sale shows just how valuable a coin can become when it combines rarity with high quality. The fact that it was in near-perfect condition made it even more desirable to collectors. But what really pushed this particular 1994p quarter to such a high price was the combination of factors. It had the rare double die error, was in excellent condition, and had been authenticated by a reputable grading service, giving collectors confidence in its value. Coins like this don't come around often, which is why they can fetch such high prices when they hit the auction block. Now, you might be wondering why double die errors, in general, are so valuable. The answer lies in their rarity and the uniqueness of each coin. Double die errors occur during the minting process when the die is not properly aligned or when it strikes the coin more than once. This results in a doubling effect on certain parts of the coin's design. Because the error is relatively rare, collectors are always on the lookout for these unique coins. Furthermore, the doubling effect gives each coin a distinctive look, and collectors appreciate the history and imperfection behind these errors. In the case of the 1994p Washington quarter, the error is particularly prized because it occurred on a coin that was. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of coin collecting, specifically a coin that you may have never thought could be worth such a fortune. We're talking about the 1998p Washington quarter, a coin that recently made headlines by selling for an incredible $1.3 million at auction. So, what makes this particular 1998p Washington quarter so special? How did it go from being just another coin in circulation to a $1 million item? In this video, we'll explore the history of the Washington quarter, the key error that made this coin so valuable, and how one lucky collector managed to sell it for a staggering price. Let's dive in. Before we jump into the details of the 1998p Washington quarter, let's first take a moment to appreciate the history behind the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by artist John Flanagan, it features the profile of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. The coin was originally made of 90% silver, but starting in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel alloy due to rising silver prices. This is the same composition you'll find in the 1998p Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has been a mainstay in U.S. coinage for nearly a century, and over the years, its design has evolved. However, by 1998, the design of the quarter had remained fairly consistent. So, what makes the 1998p variety so special? It comes down to one very rare minting error. The 1998p Washington quarter might seem like just another standard coin you would find in circulation. However, there was a significant error in a very small number of these coins that turned them into a highly prized collectible. The 1998p quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the P Mint mark. But unlike most quarters, a rare and highly sought-after error occurred with a handful of the 1998p Washington quarters. They were struck with a double die error. The double die error occurs when a coin is struck more than once by the die, but slightly misaligned each time. This results in a doubling effect on the design of the coin. This error is especially noticeable on the letters and numbers, as they will appear slightly offset from their original position. In the case of the 1998p Washington quarter, the doubling effect is most visible in the inscription Liberty and the date 1998. When you examine a 1998p quarter with the double die error, you'll see that the L and the I in Liberty appear slightly doubled. The date 1998 will also show visible doubling, with the numbers looking almost like they have been stamped twice. This subtle but significant error is what makes the 1998p Washington quarter so rare and valuable. Only a small number of these coins were struck with the double die error, and finding one in great condition is incredibly difficult. So, how did one 1998p Washington quarter end up selling for an astonishing $1.3 million? The coin in question was submitted to a professional grading service, where it was authenticated and graded as an extremely high-quality example of the double die error. It was then put up for auction, and with its exceptional rarity and condition, it attracted the attention of collectors from around the world. The final hammer price at the auction was an incredible $1.3 million, which shocked even seasoned numismatists. What made this particular coin so valuable was not just the double die error, but also its pristine condition. When coins like the 1998p Washington quarter are found in nearly perfect condition, they become highly desirable to collectors who want to add a flawless example to their collections. This sale is a testament to the fact that even relatively modern coins can become immensely valuable if they contain rare errors and are in excellent condition. Now, you might be wondering, why are double die errors so valuable? After all, There have been many other types of minting errors over the years. The reason double die errors are particularly valuable lies in their rarity and the uniqueness of each coin. Since these errors are caused by a mistake during the minting process, no two coins with the same error are exactly alike. This makes them one-of-a-kind pieces, which is exactly what collectors are looking for. Double die errors are also historically significant because they serve as a reminder of the human element involved in coin production. Despite the advanced technology used by the U.S. Mint, these errors street. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and collectors, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into an exciting story about a Washington quarter that could be hiding in your collection or even in your spare change. The 1983p Washington quarter. Yes, you heard that right, they could be worth up to $1.2 million. So, what makes this coin so special, and why is it fetching such an incredible price? In today's video, we'll explore the history behind the 1983p Washington quarter, how a simple error made it so rare, and why one of these coins sold for a jaw-dropping price at auction. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll want to check your quarters carefully. Let's get started. Before we get into the specifics of the 1983p Washington quarter, let's quickly touch on the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin features a portrait of the first president of the United States, George Washington, on the obverse, with a depiction of the eagle on the reverse. For many years, the Washington quarter was primarily made of silver, but in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched the coin's composition to a copper-nickel blend due to the rising cost of silver. This change applied to all quarters, including the 1983p Washington quarter. The 1983 coinage was produced during a time of transition in U.S. minting, and although the 1983p Washington quarter might look fairly ordinary on the surface, one very specific error made a small number of these quarters extraordinarily valuable. Now, let's focus on the 1983p Washington quarter. You might be thinking that this coin looks like any other quarter you'd find in your change. After all, it was minted in 1983, and the design hasn't changed much from the previous years. But here's where things get interesting. The 1983p Washington quarter has a very rare error that makes it a highly sought-after item for collectors. You see, in 1983, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Washington quarters. However, only a small number of these coins were struck with a significant minting error, which is what makes the 1983p Washington quarter so valuable. The error that turned the regular 1983p Washington quarter into a coin worth over $1 million is known as the double die error. This occurs when a coin is struck with a die that is misaligned or has been inadvertently stamped twice. As a result, certain areas of the coin, like the lettering or the date, appear doubled, giving the coin a distinct appearance that sets it apart from the normal strike. In the case of the 1983p Washington quarter, the double die error is most noticeable in the word Liberty and the date 1983 on the obverse of the coin. If you closely examine a 1983p quarter with this error, you'll notice that the letters in Liberty and the numbers in 1983 are slightly doubled, creating a noticeable offset in the coin's design. This doubling effect is a major feature for collectors and greatly increases the coin's value. While double die errors do occur in other coins from different years, the 1983p quarter is particularly special due to its extreme rarity. The vast majority of the 1983p quarters were struck normally and do not show any doubling. However, a handful of them were struck with this error, and that's what makes them so highly prized among collectors. So, how did one of these 1983p Washington quarters end up being worth $1.2 million? The coin in question was discovered to have a double die error and was submitted for professional grading. After being authenticated by a reputable grading service, It was put up for auction and ultimately sold for an astonishing $1.2 million. This sale shocked many in the numismatic community and made headlines around the world. But the price wasn't just due to the double die error. The condition of the coin played a huge role in its immense value. The 1983p quarter that fetched $1.2 million was in pristine, uncirculated condition, which made it even more valuable. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins that are not only rare but also in excellent condition, and this coin was the perfect combination of both. You might be wondering why double die errors are so valuable. The answer lies in their rarity and the fact that they are essentially one of a kind. While the U.S. Mint strikes millions of coins each year, only a small fraction of those coins will contain errors like a doubled die. As a result, these coins are highly desirable to collect. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a coin collector or just love learning about rare finds, you're in for a treat today. We're diving into the fascinating world of the 1981D Washington quarter. While most people know that quarters are worth just 25 cents, this particular coin is anything but ordinary. One 1981D Washington quarter recently sold for an incredible $1.1 million. Yes, you heard that right, a quarter worth $1 million. So, how did a coin from 1981 end up with such a jaw-dropping value? In this video, we'll explore the history of the 1981D Washington quarter, the rarity of this specific coin, and why it's worth so much. Stick around to the end, and you just might want to check your own coin collection or change jar. Let's get started. Before we get into the specifics of the 1981D Washington quarter, let's first talk a little bit about the history of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932 when it was first introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin features a profile of Washington on the obverse, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. Over the years, the reverse design has changed several times, but the most iconic design, featuring an eagle with wings outstretched, was used on the quarters from 1932 up until 1998. In 1964, the Washington quarter underwent a significant change in its composition. Originally made of 90% silver, it was switched to a copper-nickel alloy in 1965, and that's the type of quarter we're dealing with for the 1981D Washington quarter. While many 1981D quarters are common, some are worth far more than their face value due to errors or specific variations that set them apart. Now, let's zoom in on the 1981D Washington quarter. This coin was minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark on the surface. The 1981D quarter doesn't seem any different from the millions of other quarters produced that year. It has the same design of George Washington's profile on the front and the eagle on the reverse. But here's where things get interesting. A very small number of 1981D quarters were struck with a significant minting error. This error is what turned a regular quarter into a highly sought-after and valuable coin. The 1981D Washington quarter that sold for $1.1 million is a prime example of a double die error. This means that during the minting process, the die used to strike the coin was misaligned or improperly created, resulting in a doubling effect in the coin's design. This is most noticeable in the inscription on the coin, particularly the word Liberty and the date 1981. When you examine the coin closely, you can see that these elements appear to be doubled, as if they were struck twice by the die, slightly offset from each other. This kind of error is extremely rare, and it's what makes this particular quarter so valuable. While double die errors do occur, they are not common, and the 1981D variety is especially scarce. Most of the 1981D quarters that were struck were perfectly normal, and this error only affects a small percentage of the total production. So, how did this 1981D Washington quarter end up fetching such a huge price? The sale of the $1.1 million coin took place at a major coin auction, and the high price was a result of both its rarity and its condition. This particular coin was graded by a professional grading service and received a top-grade certification, which further boosted its value. The fact that the quarter was in near-perfect condition made it even more valuable. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition are often worth significantly more than those that show signs of wear and tear. This 1981D quarter, with its rare double-die error and excellent quality, became an instant sensation among collectors. It's a perfect example of how a simple minting error can result in a coin becoming a prized collector's item worth millions of dollars. Double-die errors are some of the most sought-after errors in the world of coin collecting. But why are they so valuable? The answer lies in their rarity and the uniqueness of each coin. When a coin is struck with a doubled die, it becomes a one-of-a-kind item. The doubling effect makes the coin visually distinct from any other coin of the same year and type, which is why collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these rare pieces. The appeal of these coins is also enhanced by their historical significance. Errors like the 1981D Washington quarter serve as a reminder of the fascinating process behind coin production.